This is episode 37 of the Arts Academy podcast with Victor Varnado and Roxxy Haze. Case studies with the faculty of New York Alt Arts Academy.
Hello, students. Welcome. This is the Arts Academy podcast where we teach you all things in the field of arts and entertainment. We are brought to you by the New York Alt Arts Academy. Let's get started. My name is Dean Victor Varnado, and with me is Deputy Headmistress Roxxy Haze. How's it going, Roxxy?
Pretty good. I'm excited.
I'm also excited, Roxxy. We're about to do this, We're about to do this. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we are going to do a case study of a piece that I worked on recently. Now, I was hired by a company to write a piece about, I did. I wrote a piece, and then we also animated and edited a piece, which is about a new legislation that is trying to be moved through Congress. And the company that hired me is trying to warn people about this legislation. And so what it required for me was to read a lot of dry laws and then try to turn them into a semi-entertaining video that educated you about the law, which is called the Earn It Act. Now, I did work on this to be both video and audio worthwhile in both ways. So if you're listening to this in the audio only, you should be able to understand this thing completely. And so I'm going to show the video right now. And then after I show the video, then I'm going to talk about the production process. Okay, and so why don't we get that up on screen right now? Okay, and I'm going to show the video. Here it is.
This is a wolf. You can't tell it's a wolf because right now it looks like a sheep. And while most wolves eat sheep, this wolf wants something much more important: your privacy. This is the Earn It Act, which stands for Eliminating Abusive and Rampant Neglect of Interactive Technologies Act of 2020.
So it's an animated video, obviously, and there were a couple of things that were problems about it. One, we started working on the animation and they didn't have a lot of money. And I said, well, if we're going to make a video and you don't have the money to pay the top tier rate, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on it at a pace which is easier for me, because you know how they talk about the triangle: good, fast, and cheap, and you can only have two of those things. So they wanted it good and cheap, so they couldn't have it fast, except for the fact that that then the bill started to move through Congress. So then they contacted me and they were like, hey, we need that video yesterday. So in that case, what happened was that unfortunately I wasn't able to hire different people to perform different acts. I instead had to do more work on the video myself, because when you're working on a project like this, like especially a professional project, one of the things that you're going to have to do is hire out if you can't do all the tasks. So in some cases, I did some of the tasks, like I designed the sheep that is animated in the video. But in other cases, there were things that I did that I actually wasn't completely happy with. Now, if we're looking at this video, and I'm going to talk to you about the things that are in the video that we didn't have the ability to change because of the time of production. The backgrounds, I think I would have redone all of the backgrounds in the video. We probably would have tweaked the animation more. The sound design would have been worked on more. All of the typography would have been different. These are things which fell by the wayside. However, sometimes when you're working on something, even a professional piece on a deadline, you have to decide, okay, what's the most important things to do, and what can I be satisfied with that's okay with. So things that were okay, but we didn't have the time to spend on them to make them better were, for instance, like the typography. Like the typography has a very low impact on the video overall, even though I would have liked it to be done better. It just had to make those choices all the time. All the animation wasn't finished. So I had to figure out ways to fill some of the gaps of animation in an interesting way without it being animation on, and also without it taking away from the rest of the video. Meaning that if you're doing animation and then suddenly you're cutting to imagery which is wholly different from the animation, that's going to be a negative for your video. So in my case, luckily, we actually already had a section in the video where there were going to be papers on a desk being marked up, papers from different bills. So what I came up with was taking video and putting it on the desk, looking like it was a cutout photograph, but on the same desk background. So it blended with some of the imagery that we already had in the video, thereby solving two problems, which is keeping the look of it consistent. Someone outside is obviously honking their horn. They're probably angry about something. Forget about that. Pay attention to me. But anyway, so thereby solving two problems, which is we still kept consistency, but we're also able to fill that time, without animation, but in such a way that didn't take away from the overall look of the video. On a scale of say 1 to 10 about how close this video was to my initial idea about it, I gotta say it's like a 6, 7, right around there. But it still works. If I was going to, like, other projects that I work on are usually closer to 8 to 10, being as close to like what I conceived of as the execution. But this one I would say would be like a 6 or 7, mostly because of the rush at the end, which was unexpected. But we dealt with it. That's the way it is sometimes. Anyway, that's that video from beginning to end. If you want to know the software that was used for most of the animation, was After Effects. The creatures themselves, or not the creatures, the sheep was drawn in a combination of Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. Some of the animation, like the pictures going onto the table being thrown on like their photographs, that was actually all done in Adobe Premiere. And the music was actually part of the YouTube free music library, which you should check out if you don't know about it. Anyway, that's that from beginning to end, everybody. There you go. Now go make your own political videos.
Okay, my turn?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Deputy
All right.
Headmistress Roxxy, take it away.
See. So I'm going to show, this is actually, hold on. Okay. This is actually a short film that I made. So I actually had help with this one. I actually had somebody that was working the camera and stuff like that, had a director for this, but it was extremely low budget. I think we maybe spent, including food, maybe like $75, like food to feed the cast and stuff like that. Maybe spent $75. The equipment was stuff that people already owned. The cast was either like my friends or my child's actually in this one. And then we filmed at one of my other friends' house. So this is kind of what we talked about in the music video episode, about just using the resources that you have at hand instead of just trying to spend money if you don't have to.
Just a quick question. How long is it?
That's 3 minutes.
And will you give a play-by-play for audio?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't even think I'm going to play the audio because this one doesn't really have I'll just actually show the video. And if you guys want to actually watch the video, you can see it on my YouTube channel if you want to kind of know. So let me pull this up.
All right.
Stop sharing. Oh, share screen.
That looks like you just lost it.
There it goes. Okay.
Coming back. Here we go.
Boom. Okay. So let me actually start this. Okay. So this is called Disneyland. So I came up with the concept for this short film actually in the car with Chinadu, who's in the video. And it is a dark comedy. I wrote an outline first, and then I wrote a script. Normally, if I'm just filming it by myself, I won't write a full script. I'll just write an outline. But because I knew I was going to be having a couple cast members and there was some dialogue in this, I decided to write a script.
What did you learn from this production? Like, what would you do different if you had to shoot
Okay,
the exact
so
same thing?
with this scene, the audio was kind of messed up. What I think we should have done was done either like a separate take with just the dry audio, you know, either like on a task cam or something like that. But the AC was cutting on. The AC kept cutting on, and because we were in the backyard, you could hear it. Now, for this particular video, it wasn't as bad because it was supposed to be like some really kind of ratchet thing. So it kind of went with it that the AC was cutting on. But any other time, I would try to get a clean audio and edit on there. Also, I did not like how I tried to color correct this. So I edited this myself. And this is before I learned more about like editing in Premiere, because I edited this in Adobe Premiere. So I didn't like how I color corrected it. So if you can kind of see like some of the, when you cut between the scenes, the colors don't match all the way.
Right.
What else?
Is that Chinadu also playing the guy in the rat outfit?
No, so that's another comedian. So instead of Mickey Mouse, it was Reggie Rat, and he owed somebody some money for drugs, and that's who was calling him. So all of this is going on while this dad is just trying to take his kid to Disneyland.
So about your dialogue recording, are you familiar with ADR?
Is that where we do the voiceover thing, right? Like after it's done?
It stands for additional dialogue recording. A lot of people do that when the initial audio is not great. And there's like a lot of different ways to do it. I think that most of the time what people do is they have a system set up so they can play back the video and then people can perform the audio as the video is playing back. You can actually do that in Premiere. I don't know if you do that, but
I've done it with another video, not with this one, but with another one. But I just learned about that like a couple months ago. Like just learned about it.
But then another shoestring budget way to do that is actually with like your phone. You can play the video back live in front of you, and then just talk into your phone while the video is playing, while you're and record obviously with your phone. Then take that file and then just sync it up to the first syllable, and it should work fine as long as it looked fine when you were saying it live as you're watching the video. That's just like a really simple shoestring budget way to do the exact same thing. And I definitely have used that on television productions and got away with it. So yeah, absolutely. It totally is a great way to do that. Any other lessons that you learned from this video, things that you would have done different?
I think that we kind of shot it really fast too, so I would have got more coverage. Because when I was editing, it was some stuff that I kind of had to either cut out because we just didn't get the shot didn't look right, or I just didn't like how it looked. So we had to kind of cut it out. So I would have just done more and maybe some different angles.
Did you consider storyboarding when you started, or did you have a shot list? We had a shot list, but I just didn't have enough stuff on there. Like I think I just was because I was just trying to get it done. I didn't have enough stuff on their coverage. This is my favorite part though, is Maya with the gun that was used to kill Reggie Rat, and she's playing with it in the back seat. And I've submitted this to a couple like film things. I've won some stuff from it, so I'm like, okay, it's not terrible, but just looking back, I would have just tried to edit it differently, maybe color corrected it better, and just got more coverage. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's. I think that is cool, especially if you have something that works. Your privacy online. If you have something that works, then great. Like, because what it is about communicating to your audience, and if you've got a way to communicate to your audience, and the way you're communicating works, it's fine. Yes, everything can always be better, but if you have something that gets a message across, then that's like the number one thing that you want to do with any piece that you're working on. Thanks for letting us teach you today. You hope you gained some knowledge. For the audio-only version of the podcast, please visit us at artsacademypodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Alt Arts Academy, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to ask us any questions in the comments or on social media, and we will either turn them into podcast episodes, answer your question, or maybe we'll make a whole class about it. Can't wait to see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for watching.